All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the October 18th edition of the Product Analytics Sync. Couple of read-only topic. No, not a couple. There's only one read-only topic there for Family and Friends Day. So please check that out. But more importantly, we have a new face, a familiar face, but a new face to the Product Analytics team. Jan, welcome officially to your first day as a Product Analytics engineer. Is there anything you would like to say as far as intros are concerned?
Thanks for the welcome. Just want to say super excited to be here. Yeah, it's a lot of us already know each other, but already had a coffee chat with Axel, and I'll set one up also with Lorena. And yeah, it's good to be back in the team, I guess.
Well, welcome back, however we want to characterize it, but it's good to see you and it's good to have you on the team. I would say that rounds out the front-end engineering side. As I mentioned before, we are definitely looking for 2 more back-end engineers. Max has already put forth a referral, so I'm excited about that as well. But yeah, welcome you onto the team. As far as additional topics, I wanted to kind of bring something that we were doing in the compliance group over here, which was reviewing the build board. I think as we are kind of moving away from just a huge list of epics and issues, and we've got this board set up to track and organize things based on our workflow labels and milestones, it'd be good for us to kind of get into the habit of reviewing that to make sure that the things we're working on are actually being tracked. So I can go ahead and share my screen, and then we can kind of just go through and see if there's any updates we want to share about that. I did just update my resolution, so it's not going to be super microscopic. If it is, please let me know. I'm happy to share the screen directly. All right, so we've got create any necessary reusable UI components and services ready for production ready dashboards. This is blocked and not assigned to anyone until we get, actually, is this necessarily blocked, but it's already scheduled for the milestone, which is interesting.
Interesting. I always assumed that was sort of the issue to do with creating the actual widgets themselves, which is technically blocked until my MR gets merged. It's had merge set, but I'm getting pipeline failures, which are unrelated joys. So not entirely sure what's going on with that one.
Okay.
I'd say we could probably start working it. Well, we could definitely start working it by the end of the day.
Right. This is the one I created, I think, when I was just trying to map out all the different dashboard kind of units of work. I know you have a whole line of different issues for actually building the widgets out. So this might be redundant at this point. But perhaps we'll see your issue on
we
this
split
board.
up the basic layout structure, didn't we, Axel? So we can always close this in favor of those other ones.
Yeah, pardon the window switches. Yeah, because this was when I was just kind of building out like the dashboard views and using schemas and things like that. So at this point, one thing maybe perhaps is you could take a look and see if these are even relevant anymore, or if this already has been separated out further.
Yeah, I'm happy to take a look. Could you assign it to me just so it doesn't slip through my radar?
Sure thing.
I have a comment related. Hello guys, sorry for the voice.
It's okay.
Yeah, I did saw this issue when Dennis shared the link to the board, and one of the things I did with the review I did on Robert Simard was to actually go ahead and create the chart and like to see how did it feel to use what he implemented. And I was under the impression that this issue could cover like the first actual chart that we could create. That's what I thought. So maybe we can push that issue that way. But anyway, I can still talk it out with Robert afterwards. But that's what I thought.
Cool. Well, it's assigned to both of you, so we can figure out if there's anything to push for this side, or if it's been superseded by the other issues as well, because they've definitely there's a bit of a gap between when they've been created and how long they've been updated. So cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. One thing I also moved into this in terms of our expected timing, of course, this is dependent on our conversations with infrastructure and security as we integrate GitLab.com with the analytics cluster to be able to instrument staging and or have the Stacks service working on staging and production so that we can instrument the internal handbook. That was a mouthful. I moved this into the milestone, and this one's already been assigned to Sam. So basically just to make sure that we can track the internal announcement is about what we plan to do for dog fooding and how we plan to instrument the internal handbook to start and then move on from there. And kind of this is our first step in terms of our communication plan to just kind of make our way out externally in terms of our plans for product analytics. So Sam, I don't think there's anything to speak to at this point beyond what I just mentioned, but
no, the announcement is drafted and ready to go. If you'd like to look at it, make any edits or comments, it's linked in the issue. Pretty much we're just waiting until we have line of sight for when we will push it, because the announcement says end of October right now. We can change that if we need to push it. And otherwise I'm just waiting for let's go ahead and publish it so we can give people a week's worth of heads up, and then we'll make it, public for everyone.
I was trying to link it to the infrastructure issue, but I don't have it handy. I'll do it later. Okay, cool. And then our resident designer, Rob, instrumentation screen. Anything you'd like to mention here?
I am terrible at design. It's going, things are happening. I am making okay progress, and I am going to contact a few people from UX once I've got a decent chunk to get their suggestions and how I can make things better without necessarily handing it over to them, because obviously it's not their job. But I'll see if I can solicit some feedback from some people. Hopefully I'll have something that I'd be willing to share in the next day or so.
Sounds good. I'm sure we're happy to provide feedback and thoughts as well. So whenever you're comfortable sharing. Is there anything we can help you with prior to that?
A design degree, maybe color theory, inject that into my brain would be useful too.
Sure. We've got that O'Reilly subscription, so maybe we can use that.
In terms of design resources, I am trying to push to get us an actual designer for the group. We're likely to be able to get an actual headcount for that probably towards the beginning of next year. Until that, what we'll likely be able to do is identify a designer to help us on project-based topics, like here's a specific issue we need design help with, do that and only that. So that's something I'm working on in the background to hopefully have for y'all soon. So Rob, you don't have to get that design degree.
I don't mind doing it. And I'm sure Jan and Axel wouldn't mind doing a bit of design if they were forced into it. It's just, especially at this point where we're still at the giving it out to users stage, but as soon as we start actually selling this as a viable product for them to start using, that's when I really want someone with far more UX experience to come in and tell me everything I've done wrong.
Yeah, that will come in due time, and I think it will line up in terms of as we kind of get more out to beyond the customer preview and how we actually will package this up to customers. In terms of our hiring plans for the next fiscal year, we should be able to have some stable counterparts there to really help us get to that point. But until then, it seems like we can get some at least partial capacity to make sure you're not just completely on your own with this. But we appreciate your efforts regardless. Cool. I think this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jan.
Just wanted to say that, Rob, please feel free to include me in that. Happy to help out. Also I don't mind doing it temporarily as long as it doesn't become my full-time position, but happy to help out with the design bit.
Awesome. So we've got two resident designers for now then. Very cool. I think track usage with new tracker internal handbook. I think we're all aware this is just dependent on the infrastructure production change request. I think I've tried to assign this to Rob since he's the one that put the merge request together, but we can go ahead and do that now. But yeah.
Yeah, sign away.
Cool. Very cool. I just recently added this because it's the thing I've been doing, but didn't have really an issue with it, which is the stack integration with staging and production. This is effectively the support issue for the infrastructure change issue, which is actually where I have the link for the infrastructure one, so I can use that to save that later. But yeah, as you might have seen from last week, we have the production change issue here, and we've gotten some feedback from, or gotten some questions from infrastructure. So I'm hoping to push that topic as well. And so hopefully we can get some movement there. All right, we've got a number of issues in dev as well. Axel, Rob, anything to speak to as far as the dashboarding and such?
For me, the widget MR, as I said, Tim's approved. It's set to merge, having a few difficulties with pipeline, unrelated pipeline issues, which I need to look into after this. So next stages for this is actually building a widget, a proper cube widget, which I don't know if it's going to be me or you or Axel or John. I don't know, but somebody needs to build a widget.
We'll figure it out, whoever's available.
Yeah, that's I believe that's the ticket we were talking before, the first one. We might use that one too. And one thing we need to do is to sit down with Jan and talking through like all of the decision process we made through with this MR. I was trying to do that on our one-on-one, but we ended up liking each other so much that we were talking about anything else. So yeah, we should schedule something to sit down and talk about this.
Might also be something worth recording too, as we loop in optimize engineers as well to kind of lay out the overall plan for dashboarding and widgets.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, cool. We've also got the admin settings section also in dev. Axel, is there anything you'd want to call out here?
Yeah, for the admin session, the UI is ready. This is still not actually hooked to the backend. One thing that I want to do today is to go ahead and merge Max MR into my branch and to actually hook it up. I'm expecting a quick turnaround time after that. As one good thing of working on that is that we have like a lot of examples, and I mean, I'm not adding anything new. I'm just following the conventions of the settings. So yeah, whenever that's actually working, then I can move it to review, hopefully today.
Cool. Max, you've got the next two.
Yeah, so this one should have been simple. It's already been approved by a maintainer, but I've been stuck in merge conflict hell for some reason. So I'm hoping that's going to be resolved. But once it has been resolved, we can get it merged straight away because it's already got all the required approvals. That's just the one remaining, like the main on-off switch essentially in the admin panel that enables or disables all of the work we've been doing.
Got it.
And the one underneath that is just pushed my first attempt at this now. So that's just all the work in the back end that's been done so far behind a license feature for Ultimate to make sure that that doesn't end up in the free version by accident. So yeah, that should be merged by the end of this week comfortably.
Nice. And Rob, we've got a follow-up for the loading state for customizable dashboards. Anything to call out here?
Yeah. Firstly, the widgets MR just merged.
Nice. Excellent.
This is a follow-up to that. We figured out a way of importing the CSS for grid stack without affecting other pages to really try and reduce that performance impact. But in doing so, we've got to wait for the CSS to load, which can cause a bit of a janky experience. So we should really add some kind of loading skeleton loader type state to the dashboard. So that's the follow-up that I need to look at doing as a nice to have. It's not a priority. I've got high priority things to do. So if Jan or Axel, you feel like taking that on, feel free to take that off me. Awesome. Otherwise, I will get to it, just not immediately. I've got to design stuff first.
Very good. We've got a couple of items as well. Close, investing in scope of management layer for the analytics stack. Kube proxy doesn't work with Kube.js library. A lot of investigation that we were able to close out. So a lot of good work there. I think that would cover it for the boardwalk. That was great. And we'll kind of scope it in a little bit more. I guess, well, everything's top priority right now, so I guess it doesn't really make sense to separate it out any further. Cool. What else do we have on the agenda? Demo. We could definitely do that, but I'm not trying to avoid it, honestly. But there is 12 minutes left on the in the meeting, so I want to make sure we can get to the other topics. So I guess I can just speak to one thing I wanted to call out. Oops, sorry. Okay, thought I heard someone. Yeah, Sam and I are looking to introduce some of our typical ceremonies again with milestone planning, having an actual issue, start to bringing a little bit more structure into our planning process, other than take a look at this epic and see what issues are available. So hopefully that makes things a little bit easier in terms of finding things to pick up on and bring more visibility into what we try to plan for the upcoming milestones. Sam, you have the next point.
Yeah, so as part of the discussion on what we want to do with the left sidebar, the conversation's broadening to include other groups, which is great, so that we have a correct solution for GitLab as a whole, not just for our group. Something I thought would be helpful to frame that discussion is if we could give other teams a sense of how many things we want to add to left sidebar. There's going to be a big difference between if we want to add 2 new options versus 20 new options. Right now, I believe we are trying to add around 5 screens, and I just wanted to talk with you all. Does that seem like the right amount of screens that we would want to be doing for the first set of releases for product analytics? Or would it be more than that or less than that?
I mean, I think that's the number just to start, and I think it is only going to increase further from there. I think having that top level, yeah, I mean, I would definitely lean on we're going to approach 20 more likely than we are to stick with 2, is my thought.
Cool. Yeah. And when we get to the point where we need to add even more, like I envision the experimentation workflows needing a whole lot of different screens added. I think we'll have another left sidebar discussion as our group grows. But starting at 5 will help that initial discussion move forward if we just bundle everything under the existing analytics, left sidebar option, split it out, do something completely different. That's helpful.
Yeah, sure.
Dennis, on your demo, if we don't have time, would you want to do a recording of that async, and then you could just share the link later?
Yeah, that's actually how I would prefer to do it, because then I can actually speak to more in depth of how Helm's going to work, why it's advantageous in terms of like updating and changing your installation and the whole point of it. I can start it if we have time, but anyways, let's go through the rest of the agenda topics and see where we land first.
Okay.
Tangentially related to your topic, Sam, about the left sidebar, we're using a product analytics controller currently, which belongs to some work done when product analytics was an idea from the monitor stage. That code is, I think, at this point over 2 years old. That feature flag has never been turned on for more than 2 private groups. So I think it's safe to say that we can probably remove it entirely, Max, to answer your point about cleaning it up. It was kind of news to Sam and I, at least, as recent as I think last month, when we kind of discovered that this was something that we had attempted in a different stage. But I think we could just perhaps reach out to the managers at Monitor and see if they're okay with that. But it seems like this is something that it's not being looked at anymore. It's causing issues on our end because there's existing feature flag checks that we're having to dance around. And so I think it's just good maintenance and hygiene to clean this stuff out if it's not been used for quite a long time.
Yeah, it's not been touched in 2 years.
Yeah.
We have an issue for this. I can't remember where it is, but we do have an issue to tidy this up. Axel made it.
Okay. Well, if you can link that to the agenda, it'd be great.
Is it mostly back-end stuff? So I'm happy to take that on if you want.
There's a little bit of front end, but it is definitely kind of older style, like Rails view.
It's Haml.
Yeah.
Oh, fine.
Haml-based stuff.
Yeah.
I can take that on if you want.
Cool. Yeah, that would be good.
I'll find the issue. Axel did.
I've
There we
assigned
go.
it to yourself.
Excellent. Max, you've got the next few points.
Yes, I do. So sorry, I'm on one screen. First of all, yeah, at the moment, because I'm the only backend engineer, Rob and Axel or one or other, you're comfortable taking initial reviews. Obviously, I can use Roulette just to pick a random backend engineer, but considering domain knowledge is pretty constrained within this group of people at the moment, while we're still figuring out our direction, it makes sense to keep it internal for now. And I see Rob has gracefully volunteered. Is that all right with you then?
Yeah, as I say, I'm more than happy to. Done a lot of back end over the past year, so I've generally okay skills that seems to pass initial review quite well. It's when I get to maintainer that's the problem. So I'm fine as an initial reviewer.
You can be my default initial reviewer for now. Just let me know if you find yourself overwhelmed, and we can find someone else.
I'm maxing myself out at 2 reviewers for Roulette, so ignore that and just go for me. It's just so I've got enough room for this team.
Cool. Next point, number 8, is I've started a discussion on the Epic about data exporting and data portability. Our REST API proxy works well and works with existing products on the market. I've had to go with some of the low-code tools, and it just kind of functions as you would expect. The SQL API from Cube will be considerably more complicated to expose from within GitLab, but have a look in the Epic async if you're interested. We can decide what to do with that outside of this meeting, I think.
Cool. Then it's demo time. If you have to jump for any reason, feel free to. I'm just going to record into this and then cut this out just as part of the demo. So I can also just see how far it goes before it fails, as all live demos do or have been for me lately. So yeah, let's check it out. The point of this is just to kind of demonstrate the interaction between GitLab as the product and how we would establish the connection to an analytics stack service. This would branch out further as we kind of move into our strategy in terms of being able to provide customers with their own means to set up their own analytics cluster, to keep it even more first party or within their infrastructure in terms of however they want to collect analytics data. And so I'll be kind of giving a very, very brief overview of how it's being currently packaged as a Helm chart, and then kind of just showing what the work that everyone's been working on in terms of actually getting the cluster set up, the ClickHouse database created, and things like that. So without further ado, I will share my screen. We will see how far I get. The stack is online, so that's a good start. So we'll go from there. So to kind of give a quick overview in terms of how this stuff works, sorry, I have a bunch of windows everywhere. The idea for the stack is that basically there's a package you can download and install on your own infrastructure. Hopefully, you know, we're testing this on Google Cloud, but hopefully this can extend to AWS as well as Azure. But if you look at it, sorry, my Zoom window is blocking it. As you can see, it's still typically using what you would expect from a Kubernetes setup in terms of setting up the services and everything else you would need as far as the Kubernetes cluster goes. The only difference is that eventually it packages up to the point where you can gzip or archive this entire folder. I don't know what just happened there. And then run a simple command, basically say Helm install. You can name the cluster whatever you want, and then effectively it will install it on whatever cluster you have set up with whatever cloud provider you have. So this is a one way for us to deploy it for ourselves, but also for others to run their own stack. And so I've already got this set up because when you install it, it takes time. You have to set up ingress and things like that. Ingress is a way for basically to set up an actual public entryway to access these services. So as I mentioned before, the configurator, at least when I tested it, was working. This is also available on HTTPS. I'm not sure why it's defaulting to it otherwise, but we'll just go through the setup process and just go as far as we can end to end. And these credentials will change once we actually get it to the point where we need to integrate it with production. So we already set up Jitsu. So this is, again, what's going to be collecting all the data and then submitting everything over to ClickHouse. We won't set up the destination right now because we don't need to at this point in time. But one thing I am planning to do is set up different projects for different environments. So we'll have one for staging, one for production once we actually get this set up with infrastructure. So if you have any questions, please feel free to interrupt me. I'm just going to kind of breeze through this a little bit since it's probably things you've done when you set up the dev kit.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's the reasoning behind not having like entirely separate stacks for each stage rather than separate projects? Just from a data separation perspective, why would we want to just have groups?
Right now, just purely out of management. It's simpler and quicker right now to have the two, since we're not really doing anything with staging right now. In an ideal state, I would say, yes, we should have completely separate environments for staging and production. That would be the general best practice there. Does that answer your
Question about the Helm chart. You mentioned you're using Google as the cloud provider. Is there anything specific to GCP, or could you also use the same Helm charts for AWS or Azure or whatever you want to use there?
Theoretically, it should work for any cloud platform. The kind of finessing you have to do is making sure that, and I think there's other tools that can help with this, like Customize, where you can basically say, if I want to install it on a specific platform, there are certain nuances between them in terms of how you classify, for example, like volume storage for your cluster. You have to point to different types of different IDs or different types of storage classes. So that's something that once we actually get to that point where, okay, we want to offer this to allow customers to set it up on whatever they want beyond just Google Cloud, there will be some testing that we will have to do, which we actually have environments for, at least for AWS, in addition to Google Cloud, where we can test out to make sure that it is able to adapt and change the configuration values based on which platform you're going to install it on.
Got it. Thanks.
Cool. And I kind of did breeze over it too, but well, I just lost my train of thought there. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and connect it. So I've got a copy and paste here, but basically I'm just going to go in here. Sorry, I'm jumping on the right side, and I'm just going to change the project key for Jitsi and see how far we can get here. And then make sure everything else is looking all right. We have our Jitsi host. We can actually use HTTPS now. Zoom window is getting in the way again. Our ClickHouse connection string, again, the credentials will change, so there's no issues there. Plus, you can't access it outside of the cluster network, and the Jitsi credentials as well. So that's looking good. So we will go ahead, update the application settings, and do a reload. And at this point, we can select a project. I'm going to use a new one. Oops. Let's try that again. So we're going to select the wget2 project on the GDK. And then we're going to go ahead and execute the initialize stack service. And hopefully, as things go, we'll see in the background, it's going to create a new source for the project and create a new database in ClickHouse. And that worked surprisingly well. Is it project settings? Is it now under Max?
Yeah, project settings.
Jitsi key. Now, yeah, awesome.
Look at that. Isn't it great when everything works?
Yeah, you know, it only took 4 attempts of like trying to demo this for it to work for me. Cool. So now we have the Jitsi key. This is what we were going to present to the users to say, hey, you want to start collecting data on your application? Congrats, let's do it. And the way you would do that is you would go to your, that's not the right window. I'm sorry, I'm jumping around because I'm lost right now. So we would go here. Right now, I'm just going to the GDK. Of course, for us, it would be the internal handbook, but let me just close this one so it's easier to see. I'm just going ahead and including the JavaScript SDK, as well as a tag to instrument, initialize it, and then use the key as well to start tracking data. So if I go to my GDK and just flip through a couple pages, go through GitLab shell. Obviously, this is a little weird because we're tying it to a specific project, but now we're gathering data on the entirety of the GDK. But we'll just go to the issues list, go through one more page, And then we'll just verify that the events are getting picked up from, oops. I don't know how to fix that. The front end where it's like emitting the port number on that, so that the links fail. I'm getting a cores policy thing, even though I've turned it off. So that's cool. I'm not sure what's happening there. So if I go back to Jitsi, it's probably not picking up the events now. Or no, yeah. So why am I having a cores issue? Well, I'll probably just have to record the demo there, but basically what's supposed to happen is that you'll start seeing the events go through here, and then we can verify it on the ClickHouse server itself by just querying the database directly. But that's as far as we're going to get with the demo so far. But yeah, I had already turned off content security policy, but I'll have to figure it out later. That's what we've got so far.
Looks to be coming from the server by that message. It sounds like it's coming from the server rather than from localhost.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not sure why that's the case. Would be new to me. So I'll have to dig into Jitsi server and why that's changed. But at any rate, I'll take a look at that and then I'll record another demo just to see if we can get to the end. But any thoughts so far?
Well, I mean, that seems to work pretty
Looking
well. That's what we were hoping for, isn't it?
Yeah, the integration setup. I mean, it's just at this point, it just needs to be able to receive the events. But yeah, it'll show up here. What I was going to do is flip back to the ClickHouse server. You could log in and then verify the events are actually there as well. But that's for a later time. But at least here, you can see all the different, oh, wait, that's interesting. Where's the database for this one? Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to have to do some digging. But anyways, got pretty far. So that's good.
I think the database is generated the first time it gets data. Otherwise, it doesn't generate the database.
That's probably it. Okay. Then that's why the database didn't show up. Cool. Well, I'll figure out the cores issue and see what happened there. But I pinned the version numbers, so I know that's not a thing anymore. But I'll dig into it.
Oh, well done, and good luck with cores. Cores is the bane of my life.
Well, it's only going to get more fun as we get into production. So looking forward to that because we have a very strict cores policy. So people are just going to see random console errors. No, but cool. We got pretty far there. So yeah, nice. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for everyone for joining this meeting. Good agenda and everything like that. So if there's anything else, see you on the Slack channels. Otherwise, see you in the next call.
Thanks, folks. Bye.
Bye.